welcome to our special end of the year edition of Business Wrap. It's time to look back at the year gone by and refresh for you the financial stories that impacted your life, the economy and the world. In the next half hour, our reporters will take you back on the financial journey of 2012 and also give you an insight in the year to come. But before we introduce our correspondents who brought you the financial news which made a difference to you, let's take a quick look at the business headlines in 2012.
Kodak moments come to an end as US camera pioneer Eastman Kodak files for bankruptcy. Companies struggled for years to adapt to an increasingly digital world. 11th edition of Auto Expo held in New Delhi. As many as 1,500 exhibitors and 50 global brands from 24 countries participate in the show. 58 new launches during the show. Cabinet makes hallmarking of gold jewellery mandatory. Hallmarking to a certain purity certification of the precious metal and protect consumers from unscrupulous jewellers. Government notifies 100% FDI in single brand retail. Foreign investors can invest up to 100% in the single brand retail sector. RBI increases the bank rate by 3.5 percentage points to 9.5% after a gap of nearly 9 years. The bank rate, which has been increased by 350 basis points, was kept unchanged since April 2003. Budget session of the Parliament begins on March 12th. Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee presents the budget for 2012-13, modest tax relief provided to all taxpayers. Tax slabs upgraded and exemption limit hiked to 2 lakh rupees among other things. Railway Minister Dinesh Trivedi presents the railway budget. Rail travel charges hiked after 9 years. Move later, roll back after Mukul Roy takes over as Railway Minister. GDP growth in January to March quarter slips to 9-year low of 5.3%. Manufacturing shrunk by 0.3%. RBI releases annual monetary policy for 2012-13, cuts repo rate by 50 basis points to 8%. Bullion traders and jewelers on strike since March 17th call off their strike on April 6th following government's assurance to consider their demand for rollback of excise duty on non-branded jewellery and hike in import duty on gold as was announced in budget. Cabinet approves turnaround plan for Maharaja via an equity infusion of 30,000 crore rupees over the next 8 years. May 18 marks social networking site Facebook's epic debut at Nasdaq with initial public offering at $38 per share. The debut was however marred by technical glitches and closed in a lackluster fashion near its initial public offering price. Finance Minister tables the white paper on black money in the Lok Sabha. The paper proposes a strategy to curb black money generation from legitimate activities. Union Cabinet clears new Telecom policy 2012. Cabinet also approves introduction of unified licenses. Nokia unveils 41 megapixel camera PureView 808 smartphone in India. Phone priced at around 34,000 rupees. Competition watchdog Competition Commission of India imposes a hefty fine of about 6,000 crore rupees on 11 cement companies for price cartelization. CCI levies a penalty of 50% of their profits for the financial year 2009-10 and 2010-11. Delhi Airport metro services suspended for faulty bearings, faults in civil structure at many places found. Technical committee constituted to fix the problems. Maruti Suzuki announces an indefinite lockout at its 2 plant in Manesar in Gurgaon following the death of a senior HR executive and arson by workers. A mob of at least 600 workers of the Manesar plants went berserk following a scuffle over suspension of an employee. Lockout finally ends after 1 month and Maruti Suzuki resumes production. In the worst ever power crisis, 8 northern states including Delhi goes powerless for almost 8 hours due to power grid failure. Northern, eastern and northeastern grids fail, leaving people in dark. Power grids fully restored later. The Supreme Court asked the 2 Sahara firms to refund around 24,000 crore rupees along with annual interest of 15% to its OFCD investors within 3 months. SEBI bans the firms from raising money from small investors through the instrument. 165-kilometer long Yamuna Expressway connecting Greater Noida with Agra inaugurated. Time required to travel to Agra from Delhi reduces to 2 hours from earlier time of 5 hours. Raghuram G. Rajan, former Chief Economist of International Monetary Funds, takes over as the new Chief Economic Advisor in the Finance Ministry. Boeing 787 Dreamliner of Air India touches down at Delhi's IGI airport, ending an over a 4-year wait for the struggling national carrier. Boeing is expected to play a crucial role in the turnaround of the Maharaja. The full Planning Commission, chaired by Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, approves the 12th five-year plan. The government also allows FDI in aviation up to 49%, in the broadcast up to 74%, in multi-brand retail up to 51%. The choice of allowing FDI in multi-brand retail left to each state. CAG final report on coal block allocation tabled in Parliament puts the figure around 186 lakh crore rupees. Prime Minister rebuts CAG report in Parliament. Interministerial group reviews allocations and recommends deallocation of some coal blocks and punitive action against several others. A draft report of CAG in March accused the government of allowing coal blocks in an inefficient manner between 2004 and 2009. Committee headed by Dr. Partha Sharti Shom recommends certain amendments in the Income Tax Act and other measures to improve tax administration, specifically oriented towards GAR matters. Kaushik Basu appointed as the Chief Economist and Senior Vice President of the World Bank. 26-day deadlock in Kingfisher Airlines get resolved. Management agrees to pay 4-month salary dues by December end to the striking employees. However, the airlines cannot resume flights unless it gets the go-ahead from DGCA. Carrier fails to address the DGCA's concerns over safety and revival plan. India-born former Goldman Sachs director Rajat Gupta sentenced to 2 years in prison by a Manhattan court for insider trading. India approves a new drug pricing policy. The prices of 348 drugs deemed essential will now be regulated, compared with 74 previously. Maldives governments cancelled the contract of Indian infrastructure company GMR Infra for the renovation and management of the Malé International Airport. Singapore court rules in favour of Maldives government. The government takes control of the Malé International Airport. President Pranab Mukherjee launches low-cost Akash 2 tablet at 1,130 rupees. The new version Akash 2 will be made available to students of engineering colleges and universities. Following cancellation of 122 telecom licenses by the Supreme Court in February, government decides to auction spectrum. Auction gets lukewarm response and government garners only 9,407 crore rupees as against an ambitious target of 28,000 crore rupees. The highly anticipated Apple's iPhone makes debut in India. A lighter, thinner and more powerful version of its iconic mobile has starting price of about 45,500 rupees. Cabinet decides to set up Cabinet Committee on Investment under the chairmanship of Prime Minister to fast-track approvals for mega projects of over 1,000 crore rupees, also clears the land acquisition policy for industrialization. Parliament passes Banking Laws Amendment Bill 2012 after the government drops controversial clause concerning allowing banks to trade in commodity futures. The Banking Bill to give more regulatory powers to RBI. Companies Bill also passed in the Lok Sabha. Stock market gives a return of 22% amidst lackluster global markets and high interest rates regime. Gold under pressure from regulator and government, returns declined to 12% from over 30% a year ago. With Arun Sharma, Salvia Chaudhary, TT News.
The global economic slowdown, which started in 2008, has lingered on. Apart from making a difference to the developed nations, it hit the Indian economy as the after effects started trickling down to the other developing nations as well. Ajay Mishra brings you the roundup of the impact on India.
The year 2012 can be best described as the turning points for the second-generation economic reforms in the country. The year witnessed the worst an emerging market economy can tolerate. US economy under stress, Eurozone technically in recession, and slowdown in China, Japan, Brazil and Russia. The Indian economy too was not able to decouple from the rest of the world. GDP growth slipped to 9-year low in January-March quarter to 5.3%, improved marginally to 5.5% and again declined to 5.3%. Economy is expected to grow less than 6% this year, though it is the second fastest growth rate in the world. Inflation, on the other hand, was persistently averaged at 8% throughout the calendar year 2012. The inflation trend remained well above the comfort level of the central bank, the Reserve Bank of India, which could not reduce the pressure on interest rate and cut the key rate only once to 8% in the month of April. However, RBI tried to maintain the liquidity by injecting 1.25 lakh crores by cutting CRR by 175 basis points. The central bank said its focus has now shifted towards supporting growth even as risks to inflation remain high, signaling its focus on growth for the first time in nearly 3 years. During the year, industry was the worst hit. Since March, growth turned negative with the capital goods sector underperforming the most because of the fall in corporate investment following high rates of interest and paralysis in governance. P. Chidambaram as the new finance minister, some of the most difficult decisions saw the light of the day. Finance Minister laid out the new road of fiscal consolidation, giving clear signal to the investors and RBI that government was committed to curb wasteful expenditure and revive economic growth. He also appointed 2 committees to review the controversial GAAR provisions and retrospective taxation to allay the fears among foreign investors. He proposed the Cabinet Committee on Investment, headed by the Prime Minister, to overview projects worth more than 1,000 crores, and Cabinet approved the idea recently. Come September, and government finally sensed the inevitability of reforms and took the risk of announcing a slew of measures, including foreign investment in multi-brand retail, allowed the diesel prices to be raised by 5 rupees and capped the subsidized LPG cylinder at 6 per family. These decisions led to the political uproar, and an important ally, Trinamool Congress, withdrew its support to the UPA government, and Prime Minister addressed the nation, explaining the urgency of these reforms. The winter session of Parliament was possibly historic since it broke a 3-year stalemate in economic reforms and won the votes in both houses of Parliament on FDI in multi-brand retail. Parliament also passed the Banking Amendment Bill, which will give way to new banking licenses. The Companies Bill and Competition Amendment Bill has also been passed by one House of Parliament. The economy is expecting growth-oriented budget in 2013. Expectations are that recovery should begin in the first quarter of 2013. Fiscal cliff in US and recession in Eurozone still are the biggest worry for the Indian economy. But it is widely believed that with the cut in interest rates, along with the reforms that have been adopted and will be introduced, should get the economy back to growth. Ajay Mishra's report, DD News, Delhi.
We're going to take a quick break here, but there's lots more on this special end of the year edition. Stay with us.
जल्दी उठो बेटा, फटाफट, चलो चलो चलो। बेटा स्लो ब्रश करो, धीरे धीरे से।
पापा सब काम इतने फास्ट पर ब्रशिंग स्लो क्यों?
सोचना पड़ेगा।
टूथपेस्ट फास्ट काम कर सकता है, जैसे आपका पेप्सोडेंट, जो सिर्फ 2 मिनट में करे 95% तक कीटाणुओं का सफाया। पेप्सोडेंट जर्मी चेक।
ये लो।
मुबारक हो मैडम, आज से आपको मिलेगी गैस सिलेंडर पे 20% की छूट। 20%।
मतलब आज रात पिज्जा। चमत्कार प्रभु। तो लाओ मेरे बाकी पैसे वापस।
वो तो आपके हाथ में। प्रेशर कुकर यूज कीजिए, खाना ढक्कन डाल के पकाइए, 20% गैस जरूर बचेगी। हाँ, बात तो वही है ना।
सेव फ्यूल यानी सेव मनी।
हमारी इकोनॉमी आगे बढ़ रही है और साथ ही हमारा देश भी। लेकिन ये तरक्की अधूरी है क्योंकि आज भी हमारे देश का लगभग हर दूसरा बच्चा कुपोषण का शिकार है। कुपोषण यानी सही पोषण की कमी। गर्भ से लेकर जन्म के पहले 2 साल बच्चों में इसका सबसे ज्यादा खतरा होता है। कुपोषण बच्चों के शरीर और दिमाग दोनों को ही जिंदगी भर के लिए कमजोर बना देता है। और जब बच्चे ही मजबूत नहीं होंगे तो देश कैसे मजबूत हो सकता है? आइए मिलकर इस खतरनाक दुश्मन के खिलाफ जंग छेड़ दें।
प्रियंका भारती। हाँ। ए शारदा, विमल, हरिया, सब इधर आओ। ये प्रियंका, बहुत नाम है इनका। अपनी इज्जत और स्वच्छता की खातिर अपने लगन के दूसरे दिन ससुराल छोड़ने की हिम्मत दिखाई और अपने मर्द से शौचालय बनवाने की मांग की। सुना उसने? जब सोच और इरादा नेक हो तो सब सुनते हैं, जैसे इसके मर्द ने सुना। शुरू करें निर्मल भारत अभियान। आप भी अपने घर में शौचालय बनवाएं और इस्तेमाल करें। जहाँ सोच वहाँ शौचालय।
अरे सुन तो।
मुझे क्या सुनाना चाहते हो? जो सुनाओ मेरी सौतन को।
किसको?
अरे वही तुम्हारा मोबाइल फोन जिससे सुबह शाम दिन रात चिपके रहते थे और कहते थे किसान कॉल सेंटर से बातें हो रही हैं।
अच्छा ये बात है।
हाँ, क्यों? क्या हुआ? अब बात नहीं होती क्या?
अब तो झट से बात हो जाती है।
ऐसा क्या?
हाँ, अब तो ज्यादा लाइनें और खास तकनीक के कारण खेती के माहिरों से तुरंत बात हो जाती है। और अगर कभी लाइन व्यस्त हो तो अपनी समस्या फोन पर रिकॉर्ड करा दो, वहाँ से फोन आ जाता है और समस्या की हल का मैसेज भी आ जाता है। ये देखो आ गया।
अरे वाह, इसका मतलब इंतजार की घड़ी अब खत्म।
हाँ।
तभी मैं सोचूं कि आजकल मुझ पर इतना प्यार क्यों आ रहा है।
कृषि संबंधी समस्याओं का अपनी भाषा में तुरंत हल पाने के लिए पूरे भारत में किसी भी फोन से हेल्पलाइन नंबर पर संपर्क करें। किसानों का दोस्त किसान कॉल सेंटर।
The stock markets are an indicator of the health of any economy. Our Sensex and Nifty play a big role in attracting foreign investors to the country. They are the key drivers of the markets. Arun Sharma tells us what they thought of the Indian bosses in 2012.
First of all, a happy new year to you well in advance. Now, Priyanka, let me tell you, it was a mixed year as far as stock markets are concerned. We didn't see any kind of retail active participation as far as the first half of this year is concerned, and also the FIIs or the DIIs also did not show any kind of interest as far as the first half year is concerned. But the second half year was really decent for the stock markets, and whatever 20% return we have seen in the stock markets, that is because the buying took place in the second half of the year. What was worrying the stock markets? High inflation, lower growth trends, and also the high fiscal deficit target. These three factors were really worrisome for the stock markets. If we try to see into the larger picture, the global markets were also troubling the stock markets. If you look at the European markets, they were also almost into the recessionary mode. If you look at the American markets, fiscal cliff was really a major cause of concern for the growth declining as far as US is concerned. If you look at the Chinese market or the other Asian markets, they were also showing signs of recession. So these factors were worrying some for the Indian stock markets as well. And we saw that the FIIs were not at all participating in the buying activity as far as stock markets are concerned. But yes, the reformist measure taken by the government in the second half of this calendar year, that is giving a green signal to FDI in aviation, FDI in the retail sector, FDI in broadcast, really cheered the mood of the stock markets, and we saw active buying coming into all the rate sensitive sectors like auto, banking, all the PSU banking and the real estate sector as well. Capital goods and the consumer durable sector also witnessed a decent buying coming into the stock market. But yes, the another main cause of concern for the stock markets were the high interest rate regime, because Reserve Bank of India in its monetary policy in the last 24 months increased the interest rate 13 times, and that really troubled the stock markets because there was no liquidity into the markets, and we saw a very passive retail participation as well. But Reserve Bank of India recently has given clear signals that if in case the inflation remains a little bit calm and the growth starts picking up, then the interest rate might be cut down. We can see a kind of a decline in as far as the repo and reverse repo rate are concerned. So that can cheer the market, and also the budget would be a crucial factor next year, which will decide the trend of the stock markets in the coming year. Obviously, the auto sector, the banking sector, the capital goods sector, and the realty sector would obviously be on the agenda of the investors as far as buying is concerned. Priyanka?
Well, that was Arun giving you a roundup of the Sensex and the Nifty for the year 2012. Let's move on. Well, whether it's telecom or information technology, India has made great headway into these sectors. We have one of the biggest rail networks in the world, and our exports have found newer markets to combat the recession. Sidhant Sibal tells us more.
One sector we saw much in this year was the telecom sector. In February of 2012, the Supreme Court cancelled 122 telecom licenses. These telecom licenses were given in 2008 on the first-come, first basis. Later on, the government decided to go for auction of these telecom licenses in November. The government was able to garner just 9,400 crore rupees as against an ambitious target of 28,000 crore rupees. The response was much lukewarm. But all was not bad in the IT and the telecom sector. A triad of policies were announced this year. These include the National Telecom Policy, the National IT Policy, and the National Electronics Manufacturing Policy. Let's start with the National Telecom Policy. It will replace the National Telecom Policy of 1999 and gives a roadmap for the telecom sector. The National Electronics Policy gives emphasis on local manufacturing of electronic products like chips. It aims at achieving an employment of 28 million people in the sector by the year 2020. Now let's talk about the National IT Policy. It aims at achieving 1% illiterate in every family by the year 2020. Well, this is Sanchar Bhavan, where crucial decisions relating to the IT and the telecom sectors are taken place almost every day. And well, this year the Government of India launched its second version of the low-cost tablet Akash, the Akash 2. And well, it will be given at a subsidized rate of 1,130 rupees to students of universities across the country. Meanwhile, Section 66A of the Information Technology Act came under much criticism this year. It started with two Mumbai girls getting arrested after their comment on Facebook. They had commented on Facebook as to why there was a bun-like situation after the death of Bal Thackeray in Mumbai. So that was the telecom and the IT space. Let's talk about the commerce and industry sector, the largest sector of the economy. It has a grim picture also. Exports continue to decline. In November month, exports registered its 7th consecutive decline. Exports in the month of November declined by 4.2%. The trade deficit also rose. But it was trade relations with Pakistan which was the highlight of the year. The year started with Commerce and Industry Minister Anand Sharma visiting Pakistan in February. Later on in March, Pakistan notified its negative list. In April, the integrated checkpost at Atari was launched in much fanfare. And as the year came to a close, FTA on investment and services with ASEAN region was also given a go-ahead. Let's talk about the Railway Ministry. It saw its ups and it saw its downs. The ministry saw 4 ministers in just 1 year, starting with Dinesh Trivedi, Mukul Roy, CP Joshi and finally Pawan Kumar Bansal. And for first time, Railway Ministry increased passenger fare price. From 1st of October, they were levy of the service charge on AC and the first class passengers. There was also talk of the much talked about the Railway Tariff Authority. This tariff authority will delink passenger fare price from its politics. Clearly, a lot happened in the year 2012 in almost all the sectors of the economy. And we hope the true animal spirit of the economy will rise in the year 2013. Here's wishing you a very happy new year.
We're going to take a quick break here, but there's lots more on this special end of the year edition. Stay with us.
Dove Hair Fall Rescue System माइक्रो मॉइस्चर सीरम के साथ अब आपको देता है खुशियां मनाने के 2 और कारण। ये है प्रमाणित डव का सबसे बेहतरीन शैम्पू जो हेयर फॉल कम करे 100 से 2 तक और आपको दे 20% ज्यादा 1.5 रुपए के सैशे में। डव हेयर फॉल रेस्क्यू सिस्टम।
मेरी हर कामयाबी देश को समर्पित है। आपके पास भी मौका है देश के लिए कुछ करने का। सरकार को सेंट्रल एक्साइज और सर्विस टैक्स की चोरी की जानकारी देकर सही मायने में विजेता बने। निश्चिंत रहिए, आपकी पहचान गोपनीय होगी। आइए एकजुट होकर टैक्स चोरी रोकने का अभियान चलाएं।
ये लो।
मुबारक हो मैडम, आज से आपको मिलेगी गैस सिलेंडर पे 20% की छूट। 20%।
मतलब आज रात पिज्जा। चमत्कार प्रभु। तो लाओ मेरे बाकी पैसे वापस।
वो तो आपके हाथ में। प्रेशर कुकर यूज कीजिए, खाना ढक्कन डाल के पकाइए, 20% गैस जरूर बचेगी। हाँ, बात तो वही है ना।
सेव फ्यूल यानी सेव मनी।
वेक अप किड, तेरा राइट है ये, मत सहो जो कोई तंग करे, कड़ी सजा दे या पिटाई करे, बुरा टच गंदी बात कहे, फुसलाए या लालच दे। वेक अप, वेक अप। खराब व्यवहार, बुरा बर्ताव, गंदा टच और गलत इरादा पहचानो और घर में इसके बारे में बताओ।
ना करो उल्टी सीधी हरकत, हम जानते हैं अपना हक।
Well, it's because of the aviation sector that movement of people across the globe has become faster and more convenient. But this year, the aviation industry met with a lot of turbulence in India. How and why, explains Salvia Chaudhary.
Yes, indeed, Priyanka, it was a turbulent year for the aviation sector as high jet fuel prices, interest costs and strikes troubled the already financially stretched aviation sector. There were strikes in Air India, there were strikes in Kingfisher Airlines. And if we talk about Air India, the Air India pilots went on strike in May protesting against management's decision of sending Indian Airlines pilot for training on Boeing 787 Dreamliners. The Delhi High Court termed the strike as illegal, and despite that, the strike went on for 58 days. And moving on to Kingfisher Airlines, which was one of the second largest carrier for the in the aviation sector, it incurred losses of 7,000 crore rupees with most of its fleet being grounded, its staff going on strike, the staff were protesting against unpaid wages. The SBI, which was the main lender of the Kingfisher Airlines, said it will not grant more loans to the Kingfisher Airlines as it was not able to repay the debts which it had already incurred. The Civil Aviation Minister tried to pull up the aviation sector. The FDI, 49% FDI was allowed in the aviation sector so that foreign investors can invest in the aviation sector. But it is still seen how the foreign carriers respond to it, and hope that the 2013 becomes a good year for the aviation sector and the aviation sector flies high.
That was Salvia getting you all the news from the aviation sector. Moving on. India is a power-starved nation, but to get electricity to even the remotest corners of the country, there is a need of more fuel. Fuel shortage caused sparks to fly within the nation. Abhishek Jha gives us a detailed report and also tells us the way forward.
Well, Priyanka, the year began on a very positive note when Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh himself called on a meeting with the private power producer of the country on the 18th of January this year. However, since then till now, it has been a very turbulent time for the power sector, especially the coal scam which marred the power sector was of very importance. After that, or in fact before that itself, government has decided to issue 58 coal blocks. The notices for not having started mining on these coal blocks because of some reasons. So coal block owners were given time to present their whatever their point was in front of an interministerial group panel, which decided on the fate of those 58 coal blocks. Those coal blocks also had the share of public sector units and the private sector. Of these coal blocks, 21 till date has been cancelled. Allocation of 21 coal blocks has been cancelled, and the many of the others have been asked to forfeit their bank guarantee with this coal block scenario. And the second thing which was of very importance was the shortage of coal for the power sector in this country. Prime Minister himself took a very serious notice of the issue, and he with the various of meetings with the power ministry and the coal ministry and the private players also, he tried to solve this problem. Towards the end of this year, the FSA fuel signing agreement with this NTPC and CIL. This was one of the major issues which was not concluded, which could not be concluded because of the differences in the terms of agreement. Also, the coal sector, the power sector, these both have this thing in common that without coal, power cannot be produced, and the coal is very short in this country. Government had decided to allocate 54 new blocks to the potential power producers in the coming years, and the meetings are still going on. I mean, on the 20th of December also there has been a meeting in the power secretaries, and it seems let's hope that in the coming year there would be enough of coal for the power producers in the country. Also, maybe this idea of price pooling would have certain implication, would have certain fructifying things, and it will have a very positive scenario for this power sector. And this is all that this year had for power sector, and we must hope, and we can only hope that the next year will bring new light to this power sector.
The year 2012 had its ups and downs, but now is the time to look forward to new beginnings, to a better future. According to a certain calendar, 2013 is the year of the snake, and all things will be possible in this year. So here's wishing all our viewers a very happy new year from the business team. Namaskar.